Hi all, good morning. Hope all are doing good. Today we are going to discuss about one of the way to implement multi-threading concept in Spring Boot application, that is a thread pool task executor. Okay, we will cover what is ThreadPool Task Executor and what happens if we have not provided a custom ThreadPool Task Executor. That is only with what happens only with @async. And we will discuss about implementation of ThreadPool Task Executor. We will see practically how it perform multiple tasks in parallel. Then we will see queue capacity, about queue capacity. Then we will get one exception, that is rejected executor exception, and we will see practically how we are going to handle that exception. Okay, as we already discussed, a multi-threading is to perform small functionalities in parallel. We have six ways to implement multi-threading in Spring Boot application. One way is ThreadPool Task Executor. Okay, what is ThreadPool Task Executor? Before this, we will see what happens with @async. Before going to discuss about ThreadPool Task Executor, we will see how @async will work. Will work with the default task executor. Okay, in the previous lectures we already covered what is @async and how we are going to implement @async. Okay, in this lecture we are only focused on pool thread pool task executors. Okay, we have one default thread pool task executor in Spring Boot application. Okay, we will see how it works. uh, to runs to run our programs in parallel, we should enable async, so that the logics or the functionality write we write in our layers will perform in parallel. Okay, with annotation @async. Okay, by annotating async, uh, by annotating async, if we annotate async, this will tell to the Spring that these tasks are going to execute in parallel. Okay, or execute these tasks in parallel or in the background without blocking the main thread. Okay, our main thread is uh, here. Our main thread is this one. Okay, we will see how @async is going to perform now. Okay, I have one controller. When I hit this controller, okay, some 100 tasks are performing here. Here tasks are like you may transform the you may transform the 100 records, or you may process the 100 records, or you may getting data from you may calling the database 100 times, or you may calling the API. Okay, some task is performing 100 times. Okay, in the demo service, and just to simulate the task. Okay, I'm assuming to perform any tasks like API call, or to transform any record, or to call the database, or to fetch records from database. I'm assuming it may take 3 seconds to perform. Okay, I don't want to wait that 3 seconds uh, until it's completed. That's why I'm annotated @async to run these task in particular thread in background. Okay, without blocking the main thread and without blocking the other threads. Okay, now I have one response entity that returns 200 status to return the successful message to the client. Okay, now what should happen if I hit this controller? Immediately I should get the result successful, but in the background, in the parallel. Okay, these tasks should execute in the background. Okay, means we should see these messages in the console. Okay, now I'm going to run this application. We will see how these will execute in parallel in the background without blocking the main thread, or without stopping the user flow. in an application. Okay, my Tomcat started on port 8080. Then I'm using Postman to test this API. I have a controller. Here already have that the controller URL and I'm clicking send now. Okay, please keep your eye on console also. Okay, okay, I'm clicking on send button now. I got successful message immediately with status code 200. If you see here, my threads are executing their tasks. Okay, task 24, record 24 is processing, 25 is processing. But if you observe the threads we have, different. These are the name of the threads. Task 7, task 5, task 3. These are name of the threads. Okay, here the maximum threads are 8. Okay, here you can see maximum threads are 8. So by default at the rate async or by default async executed these 100 records with one default executor. Okay, we have one default executor in our Spring Boot application. uh, we have one default executor. We may have one ThreadPool default executor that may configure like this, like ThreadPool executor service with some core pool size 8, set maximum pool size 8, and here queue capacity it may set like maximum queue capacity. Okay, you may confuse if we discuss like that. We will see configuration now. Okay, see, to build our custom task executor. Okay, okay, before building custom task executor, now we will discuss use of building custom task executor and why we need to build custom task executor. Okay, see, if you observe the previous output, I have 100 records to process and I just enabled async here. I just enabled async in my service. Here async fetch default configuration default executor service. Okay, it's configured like it's going to use 8 threads for any number of records. If we have any number of records, it only use 8 threads to perform those tasks. Okay, so here you are giving your control, your thread, you are giving thread managing, thread creating this entire control to Spring. But what you want, you don't want to give your thread control to a Spring, and you want to configure uh, your custom executor to use certain number of threads, and you can configure your queue. Okay, here. Okay, in those cases, you can build your own custom task executor. Like suppose for to process 100 cards, I want I want to use 10 max 10 threads. Okay, you can in those cases you can configure like that. Here I'm creating object of the ThreadPool task executor and I'm configuring that executor. Okay, I'm creating set core pool size. It's like a minimum number of threads. Okay, then set max pool size, maximum number of threads. Then I have a then I had set queue capacity as 10. Means if 10 tasks are performing, remain 10 tasks must be in queue. Okay, then I perform executor dot set thread name prefix. Okay, it just we are providing the prefix name of the thread. Next, I'm initializing to initialize these variables are to run this executor. Then I'm returning this executor. Okay, here to execute this custom executor, I should pass this custom executor to the async. Okay, now I passed my custom executor to the ThreadPool task executor demo application. Now it's going to use this custom task executor to perform these 100 tasks in the background. Now I'm clicking on run button, I'm clicking on save, and I'm clicking on run button. Now we will see what will happen. Okay, my time cut started. I'm clicking on send button. I got an exception, task rejected exception, but a few tasks are performed. Okay, it processed a few threads, but got an exception here. If you see here, 20 tasks are performed. Okay, why it processed 20 tasks and why we got an exception in parallel? Okay, if you observe here, if you observe our configuration, okay, we set queue capacity as 10, means first it first and maximum full size is 10. So here we are providing 10 threads to perform our 100 records. What will happen? It provides 10 threads to perform 100 tasks. Then first, for in the loop we will receive 100 tasks. We are giving, okay, first it 10 threads will take 10 tasks from the loop. Then remaining 10 tasks are in queue. Okay, will be in queue because we mentioned set queue capacity as 10. Okay, so in queue we it only fills with the 10 records. Other 80 records will be rejected. That's why, because we mentioned queue capacity as 10, so remaining 80 records won't process. Okay, all are rejected because we set max capacity as 10 and max thread pool size as 10. That's why we got task rejected exception. That means all remaining 80 records are rejected or not performed. Okay, now to avoid this issue, to handle this rejected tasks by the by our application, by our custom task executor, provide we should provide this thread pool executor. Okay, with caller runs policy, we have different runs policies. We have different runs policies. If you click on this, we have caller runs policy, we have abort policy, we have discard oldest policy, then we have discard policy. That means now in this case we are going to provide caller runs policy. This means we are asking, if queue is full, we are asking main thread to perform our tasks. Okay, we are asking main thread. Main thread means this one. Okay, main thread is this one. We are asking main thread to perform our records if queue is full. Then if main thread process the records, and also in background 10 threads are processing records, right? So total 11 threads will process the records. But now in this scenario we are blocking our main thread, means we are giving responsibility, or we are delegating the responsibility to perform the task when queue is full. So we are not going to get the result, or the user is not going to see the result successful immediately. Okay, now if you execute this you may get the clarity. I'm stopping and rerunning my application. Okay, now I should not get the successful message immediately, because Main thread is blocking. Okay, it took responsibility to perform the task when queue is full. Okay, we are not rejecting the tasks if queue limit is reached. Okay, we are delegating this responsibility to the main thread. Okay, we will see. My Tomcat started on port 8080. I am clicking my post now. Okay, I'm clicking on send. I should not get this exception now because I handled this exception with the new task executor. Okay, I have not get an exception, but it's processing. If you see the console, my tasks are executing. See, it is the main thread. Okay, when queue is full, main thread is performing. Okay, that's why we have not get the result immediately. See, still it is processing. Now we got the response. This means user get the response when all tasks are done. When all queue tasks are done, client is getting response. Here we are not rejecting any tasks and we mentioned with the queue capacity. Okay, and we are delegating that responsibility to the main thread. You can also mention like here if you don't want to delegate your responsibility to the main thread and you can keep your queue capacity as integer dot max. Okay, this will perform tasks by the threads itself in background, but client may get the response immediately based on the use case. You can use you can configure this custom task executor. Okay, I hope you understand this, and please watch again if you have not understand this topic. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you. See you later. See you soon. Bye bye.